Hello and welcome once again to Quarterlight. Today we're going to continue the theme of the two-door sports car, this time looking at the Triumph TR7. Yes, the wedge-shaped design, originally designed by Harris Mann, who also designed the wedge-shaped Princess. It was introduced in 1975 with a 1998cc 8-valve 4-cylinder engine, basically an enlarged Triumph Dolomite 1850cc engine. So let's have a look at that brochure now. So here it is, that Triumph TR7 brochure. The Triumph TR7 was built between 1975 and 1981 by Britiosh Leylands. In 1975, Speke near Liverpool built the TR7, which was debuted in the US. The actual Speke factory itself unfortunately was renowned for very poor build quality. They had lots of strikes and industrial action, so it was really quite a bad start for TR7. It wasn't until the following year that it came on sale in the UK, just because demand was so high at the time in the US. Like I say, originally it did have the 4-speed gearbox, but by 1976 there was an option for a 5-speed manual and a 3-speed auto. In 1977, the plain broadcoat seats was replaced by the red or green tartan. You can see this one, and this one's actually a 1978 brochure. You can just about make out that new red tartan on this particular car. In 1978, that 5-speed was now standard, and production now moved to Canley. This was great for TR7 because Canley built the TR7s far better. The only problem was, because they was originally built at that Liverpool factory, unfortunately the build quality was so bad at the beginning, it ended up with such a bad reputation that even though they started building them far better, unfortunately that bad reputation stuck with them. In 1979, a Convertible came on sale in the US alongside a TR8 with the V8 engine. In 1980, the TR7 Convertible was now sold in the UK, and production had moved to Solihull then. Again, the build quality was far better by that stage. And then by 1981, the TR7s and the TR8s production ended. It was almost like too little, too late, trying to get that build quality better. But unfortunately, like I say, that initial very poor build quality really gave it a bad reputation, causing sales to fall. The TR7s always had a great range of colours. Pretty much every year there was either adding or taking away colours. So if you do have a TR7, there's a huge long list of paint colours out there. This brochure, like I say, it's from 1978, so it has its own paint colour. I think this paint colour on this particular one is flamenco red. They did also do a carmine red at the same time, but I think that was a little bit darker, so I'm going with flamenco red for this particular one. As you can also see on this brochure, it is dealer stamped on there, coming from Doncaster in 1978, and that's that dealer stamp on there. A little bit unfortunately placed, perhaps. You usually stick them on the back, but the person decided to throw that stamp right on the front there. So let's have a look inside. Okay, this is the first page, and it's quite a nice large brochure, and it is in very good condition for 1978, this particular brochure. The first page is showing them initial drawings and designs from Harris Mann. It's also showing now that it has got that 5-speed gearbox as standard, as this is 1978. It's also got that optional 3-speed gearbox. Also showing them pop-up headlights. One of the issues with these TR7s and them pop-up headlights is them headlights were actually made out of alloy, and the paint really didn't seem to stick or adhere to them headlights too well at the top there, so they did tend to flake off, causing aluminium rust to form on them. Just one of the small issues among many issues, to be honest with you. Like I say, build quality was not the best, and being 1970, most cars of that era did suffer quite badly from rust. It wasn't just the Britiosh Leyland cars, although they always seem to get the worst rap, and we look back at them now and think they was terrible. And really, in my view, they weren't as bad as what people say they were. I think particularly programs like entertainment motoring programs really are too harsh on these Britiosh Leyland cars. They were much better than what people say. So let's have a look at the next page. Okay, a nice drawing of a TR7 there, showing a cut-through design. This one's now showing that green tartan that was an option. Also, this sunroof was now an option as well. The greens at the time, they did have a green. They did have a green called Brooklands Green in 1978. So I presume that's what this one is actually representing. The book then continues with another fold out section. Like I say, it's a very nice condition, this brochure, and we've got a white one. The white was called New White, which wasn't the best name, although they did have a Leyland white as well. And looking through information, I get the feeling New White and Leyland white was just the same colour. And again, it's showing flamenco red driving round somewhere in Europe. So let's look at the next page. This shot's showing more scenes around Europe by the looks of it. A very 70s moustached gentleman and a lady enjoying those green tartan seats. Really showing how 70s this particular brochure was. The design of this wedge-shaped design was very controversial at the time. After the TRs always tended to be a very conventional, conservative design. So this was quite radical after the TR6. The TR6 having a 6-cylinder engine, and then we went down to a 4-cylinder engine for the TR7. So it was kind of like looked down on to a certain degree. Although in my opinion, I think it was a fantastic design, almost a design before its time really. Like a lot of Britiosh Leyland cars, I think Britiosh Leyland really were world leading in design at the time, always just let down by the reliability and the build quality, but like I say, I don't think it was ever as bad as what people say it was. But certainly the designs were always at the top, and in my opinion, and I'm sure this is going to be controversial, I think it's the nicest of all the TRs. I think that's my favourite design of all the Triumph TRs. Most people would not agree with that, of course, and in fact the TRs are now the kind of like the cheapest. The TR7s are the cheapest ones if you wanted to buy one. They're kind of like at the bottom end, but they are my favourite. You just have, obviously they've got lots of issues and they're an old car now. So let's have a look at the next page. A fantastic interior shot, again really showing off them nice tartan seats that just came out in this year of the brochure. It's showing this time a yellow vehicle with them green seats, which was quite a nice mix. 1978, the Triumph TR7 colour was called Inca Yellow, so I presume that's what that is actually showing there. And a really nice interior. The seats were much plainer before this year, so I think they look really good and they do suit the vehicle very nicely. On the next fold out of the page, it shows the red seats on that particular flamenco red TR7, and it looks like even the carpeting was matched to the seat, so you can have a red carpeting or the green carpeting, which is pretty cool. So let's have a look at that next page. So this page is showing the rallying events that the TRs took place in. Britiosh Leylands ran a team of TR7s in various rallying competitions from 76 to 80 and they really stood out because they looked so much different than all the other rally vehicles. This particular one is showing the winner of the international trophy, Rally 1978, and I presume this is Tony Pond, who won so many rallies in the TR7. He also won in 1980 as well, in a TR7 V8, in the Manx rally again. So they really stood out, and they really are a very 70s, early 80s image, showing them thundering around. They didn't have so much success on gravel circuits, but certainly on tarmac circuits they did reasonably well, and they were a great advertisement for Triumph. These were, of course, V8 models, but I think they were still badged as TR7 V8s rather than TR8s at the time in the UK. So let's have a look at the next page. And once again, it's showing the Triumph TR7 in that white. New white is the official name of the 1978 paint colour, although I do think it's the same colour as Leyland white. Showing them pop-up headlights, blazing there, and looking quite amazing with these kind of like side flashes. Like I say, very controversial at the time. I remember an Italian designer absolutely hating this design, saying it was just as bad at the side as the front and the back. But I like it because it was so much different than anything else on the road at the time. This side is obviously just showing the specifications of the TR7s. Only one model in here, that 4-cylinder engine. And there is that 4-cylinder engine. On this side, it's showing all the different dimensions of the vehicle and specifications. And finally the back cover saying Triumph, Jaguar Rover, Triumph Limited, Browns Lane, Allersley, Coventry. This is quite unusual here. It says here the bonnet contour may differ slightly from that illustrated in the brochure. Why does it say that? Does anyone know? Was it I don't know. If anyone knows why that says that the bonnet contour may be slightly different in the brochure, please let me know. I know the bonnet changed with the V8s, but I'm not sure why it would say that on the Triumph TR7. Unless they're experimenting different designs, or whether they altered the bonnet shape slightly for this brochure. I'm not sure. So that is certainly a mystery. If anyone knows why that would be the case, please jot it down at the bottom, because I'm not sure why they say that. Again, it's showing these red tartan seats, which look so good with the red vehicle. The other paint colours at the time was Tara Green Metallic, Carmine Red, Brooklands Green, New White, Inca Yellow, Russet Brown, Flamenco Red, Tahiti Blue, Astral Blue Metallic, and Java green. It's a shame it doesn't show the Java green because that's a very striking light green colour as well. And of course the russet brown being a very 70s colour. They were all the 1978 colours. Like I say, they changed so many different colours on these models. It was pretty much different every year. So there we have it, the Triumph TR7. Like I say, my favourite of the TRs, very controversial. Most people would prefer the TR6 with its much more conventional design. What do you think? Let me know in the comments if you like this particular vehicle. The problem really was them early build quality issues that plagued the car at the start, which really Triumph never really recovered from that. The Triumph TR7 was built from 75 to 81. A few final sales did happen in 1982, but really that was the end of the Triumph name as a sports car builder. Triumph did return briefly with the Triumph Acclaim. That wasn't a sports car, but it was an extremely reliable small car. That didn't last too long. The Triumph name really, in most people's mind, reminded them of poor build quality. Therefore, the Triumph Acclaim was replaced soon after with a renaming it to Rover. A lot of them, like I say, poor build quality and rust issues, although obviously enthusiasts have kept them going. If you do want one, this is the cheapest of all the Triumphs, so certainly an interesting 70s car. Like I say, let me know in the comments if you do actually like this vehicle. We'll have more videos coming very soon, so do please like and subscribe. Please take care, have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye.